Kirsten from New Sky Consulting, and you're watching the CATS channel, supporting young people with disabilities to live their best and brightest life. And we're talking how to choose a post-school support service. And as with any big decision, there are always barriers and challenges faced along the way, and quite often a couple of the barriers we face is the expectations others have of our decisions, and sometimes we become our own worst enemies. Whenever I have had to make a really big decision, or a decision that revolves around the future of my children, or success around my children, I have a tendency to go into some decision-making spoilers. So I'm going to share with you 3 decision-making spoilers that can polarize you and stop you from making the decisions that need to be made, because it's not good to go into decision-making spoilers. And I hope to give you some tools on how to avoid that. For me, becoming aware of decision-making spoilers means that I'm pretty clued into when I start to go into them, and I've been able to develop little strategies to help me move through them when they come up. Now, leaving school and deciding what to do next is one of those big decisions, and it's something that you really want to get right. And because of that, it raises so many fears. And one of the big fears you have or can have is the fear of making the wrong choice. This fear can polarize us, and it can send us into one of 3 of the decision-making spoilers. And the first decision-making spoiler is procrastination. Procrastination is all about avoiding making the decision altogether. It's about you finding reasons why you can't sit down and think about goals and aspirations, why you can't come up with what it is you're looking for, why you can't identify the needs that need to be met. Procrastination is a delay tactic. It delays the inevitable, that you're going to have to make a decision, and it pushes you into that mode where you are going to be forced to make a decision. And when you're forced into making a decision, you find yourself in that space where you go, okay, I've got to make a decision, so I'm just going to make it. And it's rushed, and it may not necessarily be the right one. I find myself doing this decision-making spoiler when the decision seems so big and it seems so important that I just don't want to think about it at all. And so I don't. It's not a very effective way of making a big decision in your life, is it? No. When I find myself falling into procrastination, I do what I call the 15-minute marathon, and that involves a timer, a schedule, and a to-do list. First of all, I schedule my 15-minute marathon. Then when that time comes around, I get a timer and I set it for 15 minutes. And then I say, okay, Katrina, for the next 15 minutes, you're focusing on what you need to do for this decision. And I just get to doing it. And at the end of the 15 minutes, I can then decide whether I can keep doing more or if I need to set another 15-minute marathon. And that way, I seem to be able to chunk the decision down a bit, and I might not get a lot done, or I might actually get heaps done, but I force myself just to do it. The second decision spoiler is leaving the decision up to other people. Now, you do this in a couple of different ways. You go about finding out what everybody else thinks you should do, getting their opinions. What should I do? Tell me what I should do. What would you do? What do you think I should do? And then the worst one is where you actually then hand over the responsibility for someone else to make that decision on your behalf. Well, you decide for me. You tell me, which one? Tell me. This is a great recipe for getting an outcome that doesn't suit you. It's an outcome that actually suits somebody else. Now, when I find myself mostly doing this is when I feel ill-equipped to make the decision. I feel like I don't have all the knowledge that I need to make the decision. I'm scared about making the wrong decision. That's when I fall into this one. I address this one by telling myself, you know what, Katrina, it is okay to get other people's ideas or suggestions or thoughts on it, but I remind myself that they're giving those suggestions and ideas based on their world. Their world is not my world. They're different. And so I'll take all that information and it will form part of my decision, but it won't be the reason that I make that decision. It will go with all the other things. The last decision-making spoiler is the quick fix solution. Now, this is the one where you're looking for a choice that fixes it. It's going to fix it, and it's going to fix it quickly. Well, choosing a post-school support service is not like choosing a plumber to fix your plumbing. Post-school support is all about building aspirations and goals. These are long-term, sustainable things to do. These are things that need to have a long-term, sustainable approach. For me, the quick fix spoiler, it often comes into play after a period of the procrastination spoiler, where I'm then forced into a situation where I need to make a really quick decision, and then I'll just go, that one will fix it really quickly. It's usually something I'll choose that's very short-term, quick fix, and has very little regard for the long-term outcomes and benefits. So it actually causes me more drama in the end. So in resolving that one, my best strategy is to avoid procrastination. But that's not always possible, and I don't always do that because I'm an imperfect person. So when I do find myself in the quick fix solution, I try to force myself to stop and to say, okay, now's the time to go back to that really simple basic method of pros and cons. Get a notepad, a paper, pros one side, cons the other, and list them out. That will stop me from going quick fix and will get me to think more longer term for those really big decisions. So in conclusion, when you're faced with big decisions, you can often be led by your fears. And when you're led by your fears, it can lead you to putting off those big decisions or not making them in the best way for you. And when you're making a post-school support service decision, you need to take the time to really think through what it is you're looking for, because you're making a choice for your son or daughter with a disability about what will help them grow and develop and reach independence, or to gain friendships, or to be engaged in community, or to set them up for life in terms of resilience into the future. So you don't want to be forced into those really horrible corners that don't lead to the best decision you can make around that. So the skill is to know when when the fear sets in, when you go into those decision-making spoilers, to nip them in the bud really quickly and find tools that work for you to help you move through them to get to that right decision. Post-school aeroplane. Post-school can really give us a lot of decisions that we need to make, and they're big, hairy, scary decisions some of the time. And they're the kinds of decisions we may not want to make right now, but we need to. So we hope that we've been able to help you a little bit on this journey by doing this little ebook and this guide, this free guide on how to choose a post-school service provider, so that it helps you move through those times of procrastination or times of trying to know what to ask, where to look, and how to find. So I've given the link below, and I invite and welcome you to download that free ebook and use it when you're ready. And hopefully that's sooner than later if you're nearing the end of the school year and you're about to embark on post-school. In the meantime, that's all for me for now, and I'll be back next week with some more tips on how to choose a post-school support service. And thank you for joining me, and remember, we all deserve to live our best and our brightest lives. Thank you. See you next time.